You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective, Texas-grown, people-powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, November the 6th. We are here with TJ Ware. He is running for Texas Congressional District 24. He is a combat veteran and entrepreneur. And we want to thank him and we look forward to the conversation. Mr. Ware, if you could please introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like you said, TJ Ware, I'm really glad to be here. I'm a Texas native, but I've spent a lot of time all over the country, and I love America. So thanks for having me here.
Welcome, TJ. I'm Jennifer.
Yes,
Well,
my
it's
sorry.
great to,
Yeah, I'm
it's
sorry
great
about
to
that.
see
I'm
you
rude.
guys both tonight.
So, what would possess you to challenge Miss Beth?
Well, let's see. I guess I thought you were going to say what would possess me to run for Congress, which is a little bit of a different question. It's really a harder question if you ask me, because I mean, I see Beth as a really weak candidate. I really do. And I think that unfortunately we've just had weaker candidates. And so I think that hopefully this is kind of happening at the right time for me, with the way that the national attitude is and how passionate I am for change. And I think that this is something that's like really, really doable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, have you gotten a pretty good feel for your community and kind of what do you think the main issue for District 24 is going to be?
The economy, 1,000%. It's the economy. Yeah, I'm a data guy, so I own a data company. I really kind of stepped back from working about 3 years ago now, and I've just been doing nonprofit work. But I'm very strategic. I'm a data guy, and so you bet we've been working our butts off, talking and collecting data and understanding what's going on amongst the electorate, because that's the job of a damn representative.
Right?
That's what we're
Exactly.
supposed to do. It doesn't matter as much, like, as long as I'm there to serve the will of the people and do right by the people and listen to the people, then I think, I'll do fine. And that's my plan. So overwhelmingly, the tariffs are having a very negative effect on people, on the economy, on small business. And then go down the list of all of the other things. All the big issues are definitely tariffs / the economy, immigration, fascism, and we're pushing pretty hard on energy because in Texas, you remember that winter storm Uri. I was very involved in a lot of the recovery, and I saw the massive, widespread devastation. I've got a Facebook data center right down the street from me here, and that's fine. Whatever. We're building all of these things that we're building, and that's the progress of society. But we need to have a good, robust power infrastructure, and this administration has just cut everything that's not petroleum. And
Yeah.
petroleum is historically one of the most, if not the most, I think it is the most subsidized energy sector ever, and still getting hundreds of billions a year in federal
Mhm.
subsidies. But they have spun this idea that energy innovation and anything that is new and different that requires subsidies is bad. And it's just very unfortunate. We've got to take back over the narrative and fix a whole lot of things. And those are the things that are important to people, though, as far as what I'm hearing.
Do you have any kind of policy ideas as far as energy reform? As far as energy reform goes, you mentioned petroleum being really old. Is there any other avenues that you explored or anything like that?
Definitely. So we've been subsidizing petroleum for over 100 years at the federal level. And, you know, this is kind of a little bit of a rabbit trail, but there's a lot of things that people don't really know about me. And as this goes on, people will learn about me. But one time I used my GI Bill to go to photography school for a year, and they had a photography studio in Dallas, and I was getting into product photography, but my family wanted to move back to the beach where we had lived. So I moved down to Orange Beach, Alabama, and I took every dollar that I had and I paid someone to build me a website. I bought new beach photography equipment. I made a deal with a wedding planner. I had the whole summer worth of beach weddings booked out, and we were going to live in our beach paradise forever. I took every penny that I had, and I had, all the flyers on the beachfront condos, everything. And Memorial Day weekend, Deepwater Horizon oil well exploded. And that oil washed ashore in Orange Beach, and the people were on their hands and knees crying. A fishing boat captain went out on his boat and unalived himself. That's how bad it was. I filed a claim with BP. They said we need 2 years of tax returns. I said, this is the first time I've ever done this. And so I ended up defeated, broke, busted, going back to Texas and going back to school for aviation. And that was because a big petroleum company, really a foreign petroleum company, decided to go out there and play fast and loose with safety and regulations. And so if I step back, even from my personal perspective, I mean, did that experience change me and direct my life in ways that could have been important? Sure. Was it hard to go through? Definitely. Are there reasons for us to be skeptical about the behavior and the ethical operation with petroleum companies? Absolutely. We should be skeptical with any big company, but petroleum's been ruling the roost for over a century, and now we have a lot of innovative technology that's just better and cleaner. And I mean, you've heard Trump talk about reviving coal. I mean, come on, right? Yeah, nuclear.
Beautiful
I think
coal.
we're gonna. I think we're gonna see more. He's like those miners. They love it. We could have them work somewhere else, but they want to work down there. That's what he says.
I have my ex-in-laws are from West Virginia. My brother's ex-in-laws, and I have been to West Virginia. I have seen the families that have evolved from the coal mining families in West Virginia. They don't want to go back to the coal mines, Donald. Nobody wants to be they didn't want to be in the coal mines when they had to be, Donald.
Let them eat cake. I mean, it's the
my
most.
gosh.
The guy on the golden toilet is
That's
down.
been the
It's
theme.
just.
Yeah, that's definitely been a theme.
Have you guys seen the videos of the party that he had
Yes.
for Halloween?
Yeah, that's definitely let them eat cake. That's definitely.
Oh,
I mean, they're just flouting. I mean, it's so. I mean, and
like the contrast.
Really,
just the contrast.
it is. It's. I mean, they're not even hiding it. They're not every day they get more brazen in the way that they believe that they can literally treat this country like it's their kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
So I need to ask you something.
Okay.
I'm a progressive Democrat, and
Okay.
I am very familiar that you are a moderate.
I don't even
feel
know
like-
what any of these words mean anymore at this point. I'm being serious, but go ahead.
Okay. My concern is I want to make sure that whoever we put our support behind, when we send them to Washington, we are sending them with audacity, with an absolute fire in their bellies to fight for us. And if that means cutting some throats to make, not literally, guys, not literally. I do not condone political violence. Come on. But I just want to make sure that whoever we send at this point is an attack dog on behalf of their constituency, because I have seen these milquetoast, feckless politicians get their support from their constituency, get to Washington, and then start cashing those checks and forget all about the fact that you're supposed to be representing human beings who are from where you're supposed to be from and are living real experiences that need to be addressed. I just want to make sure you're going to fight, dude. So explain to me what you mean when you say that you're a moderate.
Well, first, let me talk more directly about what you're asking about. Do you remember when Al Green stood up on the floor of Congress and they essentially drug him out of the House? This was shortly after the inauguration. He's got his cane in the air and everything.
Yes.
That was the moment. That was the moment that everyone in Congress failed us on both sides, because every Democrat should have shut that government down.
Yes.
Because they didn't, because they have gone along with this, they have allowed all of this precedent to be set. Now, this is the status quo. They're accumulating more power. They're getting rid of worse people. And then they still shut the damn government down to keep things that they don't want to happen from happening. So we absolutely need fighters. And I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of us happen to be veterans.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's one thing. Tovar and I have talked about that a lot over the course of these interviews.
Yeah.
With the exception of, I think, 2. And the 2 that weren't veterans were teachers. It's all veterans or teachers.
Wow.
That's who's running for office.
Wow. Okay, as far as a moderate, listen, I honestly, I thought I knew what all of these labels meant. I did. But I've been meeting so many people from so many different communities and backgrounds that, wow. The labels and the identity politics has just taken us to a place where I don't even want to be, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to try to work through this the best that we can, because in certain ways I'm like super progressive.
Yeah.
Like economically, fuck, I hate that. I personally hate that the ideas that I stand for are represented as being so progressive.
Agreed.
I mean, most of it's literally anti-corruption.
Mm-hmm.
It's like almost all, like, because if that isn't there, all of the resources are here for the life that we all need. And we know that, right? We know that. So, honestly, well, shit, when I started this race, I thought I was a conservative, in certain ways. Okay? No, I mean, people have, because here's the thing. See, I don't hear liberal. I don't think of a person. When I hear liberal, I think of liberalism, liberal ideology. When I hear conservative, I don't think of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because no person is really a good representation of most ideas, to be honest. But what I quickly realized is that these labels have just been so commonly applied within the political circles that on the right, a liberal is bad, they're evil, and we got to get rid of them. And on the left, a conservative is bad and evil, and we got to get rid of them. And I've ruffled a lot of feathers by talking about Mike Johnson's 7 core pillars of conservatism. And this is really blown up in my face. And I see the face you're making, but pull them up and look at them. Look at them.
I don't even have to look at them, but I'm pretty sure Jen might agree with a lot of them.
No, she would. They're like human dignity, free market, like all of these things that they don't actually believe.
It's just the wrong delivery person.
It totally is.
Tovar has been trying to convince me for about 7 months now, along with some other members of our team, that I am a closet conservative. And I keep trying to tell them I was raised conservative. I was a registered Republican until the early 2000s. I don't even think that the labels work anymore. So
it's so all over the place, because MAGA is further from conservative than a lot of Democrats now.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. By far.
I think what it comes down to really is just, are you a patriotic, Constitution-loving American who wants this country to work?
Are you a good person?
Or are you a shit human being? And and that's where the parties are, is good person versus shit human being. And
so I've been working on Capitol Hill some, right? And I'm there to try to make a difference. I volunteer my time. I spend my own money doing this, to fight for people that have been taken advantage of by insurance companies, people that are being starved to death because they haven't got their FEMA funding that was promised to them a year ago. Those are the things that I go fight for in Capitol Hill. And I meet a lawmaker, and I've been I've not identified with a party in a long time until more recently. I've voted straight. I voted for Gary Johnson when it was Trump versus Hillary. I voted for Gary Johnson. I voted Libertarian because I don't want either one of them. And then once Trump got in power, I've voted straight Democrat ticket every election, every midterm, everything since, because I saw. I'm a visionary. I saw instantly.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my mom always said, TJ, you can be president one day. She would tell me that. And I wanted that just a tiny bit in the back of my mind until Trump got elected. And I said, I don't even want that now. I don't even want that anymore. And I'm so sad now that I have felt that way, because I'm trying to restore my faith in the ideas of America that we believe in, that we see. And I know that Tovar knows what I mean, because obviously some veterans went through the same experiences and came out with a completely different understanding of the reasons we were fighting.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
Especially in 2025, like it's definitely eye opening. Everything that has conspired.
It's wild.
that actually brings me to another subject that I wanted to ask you about, and this one's, I'm going hard on you, bud. I'm sorry.
All right, come on.
PAC money. We are, everybody up there is so busy cashing checks and so beholden to somebody other than the people who put them in their seats. We are very, very concerned about the people that we put our support behind taking PAC money. So I know that you said that you would take money from PAC, specifically not AIPAC, though, correct?
Specifically not AIPAC. And there are probably a lot of other PACs that I would not want to work with. You know, so my plan is to, and a lot of PACs, you don't actually work with them either, which is kind of a weird thing. So anyways, but here's the thing. There's a lot of good PACs too. There's a lot of PACs that are on our side that are like, so literally, you know, like there are lots of PACs. It's a vehicle to move money. And I believe that every election should be 100% grassroots.
Yes.
I do. I think that's how we get democracy, but that's not the system that we have.
Yeah. For sure.
And so I've studied this for a long time. I've studied a lot of things. You're going to learn. I'm a little bit like neurodivergent. Okay. So seriously, I mean, I started reading like 600 or 700 news articles a day in my 20s. And I started reading, I read every publication that came out by the time I was 9, like all sorts of things. And I don't know. I just have some weird thing where I'm just addicted to information, right? So I've been studying a lot of these things for a long time. And, you know, it's so messed up. We're in such a bad spot. You know, we're in such a bad place.
We were talking about focusing on labels earlier, and it kind of reminded me, Bernie Sanders had just said something, which I'm pretty libertarian minded. I don't really identify as a libertarian anymore. But as a libertarian, to hear Bernie Sanders say that focusing on labels is, somebody asked him something about the democratic socialism versus socialism, and Bernie Sanders was like, call it whatever the fuck you want. Like, is it for the good or not? Are we striving for the same goal or not? Because people do get lost in these fucking labels, whether you're conservative or liberal or left or right or.
The labels are totally, they're doing this, and it's both parties. The parties themselves have brought us to where we are today, and everybody treats it like it's a zero-sum game. And unfortunately, after studying this really hard, I did learn that all that matters is that we win at this point, especially at this point. And so we have to be focused on. Really, there's two huge things. And these aren't necessarily the things I'm running on, because these aren't the things that everybody's telling me that they care about, that I want to tell them that I'm going to address. But these are things that they still care about. But they're not, a lot of the electorate is not informed enough to really understand what all has to happen.
It's a lot.
And so the two main things that have to happen for us to save America is that we have to defeat fascism in our government, and we have to fix campaign finance. If we don't fix campaign finance. We are forever screwed. It cannot get better. So now we're in a system where you can have access to big money. I mean, I ask myself these crazy questions like, well, are all billionaires bad? What if they're a good billionaire? They can come help us and we can save the world. Like, I don't know. It's crazy, this world that we live in. I swear to God, these people are James Bond villains. I'm not joking.
All of them.
They're
Except
James
for
Bond
Dolly.
villains. And then
Except
Donald Trump. Because of what?
Except for Dolly.
And then Donald Trump. I figured Donald Trump out. I figured out, MAGA, the core of it, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a mixture between a New York mafia boss and a televangelist.
Oh,
think on it for a second. Think on it for a minute.
Yeah, I think you got to add like a 13-year-old boy 3 days off Ritalin in there too, though.
We could add so many things. Yeah, but in the way that they operate, they prey on the poor. They prey on the less educated. They use fear and intimidation. Yeah. And I worked for the Justice Department years ago, and back then it was very obvious that it wasn't a partisan department.
It's all been made that way. This is all very recent.
This is so recent. And a lot of these things, 95% of Americans or 90% of Americans probably don't realize at all. Just have none of that even exists in their thought process. They don't understand any of how that works. And that's a big problem. And then all of these labels, all of these things are just being used as fodder to distract us from the actual issues.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where we get into like identity politics, and it creates that mess.
So it's just for the media cycle.
All right. So policy then. Would you support a increase of the federal minimum wage?
I would support an increase of the federal minimum wage. I definitely would, because I think it's been low for like a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the minimum wage now?
$7.25.
Is it still $7.25?
I was like, no, that sounds too low. Like that can't be real. So yeah,
$7.25. Okay.
Now there was a guy running for governor in Texas that said, I'm going to raise it to $25, which just sounds ridiculous. But then later he said it's just to get attention or whatever. And then he dropped out of the race a few days later. He's a good guy. He's a Marine vet too. Nick Pappas. So, I mean, it's got to be something that works. But $7.25, no, like that's, I would definitely support raising that. And I have a lot of other there are a couple of dangers about raising minimum wage too. That's a complexity that you need to make sure that we understand. Now, it's probably so low now that this danger is smaller and will affect less people. But we can, in certain scenarios, start pushing people out of the labor force when we raise the minimum wage to certain places. And it does have to do with the supply and demand of labor available. But I'm a disability advocate as well, and I've been a board advisor and a board member for the North Texas Special Needs Assistance Partners for like the last 6 years. And we try to find employment for disabled people, and there are companies that are even predatory toward them. And there are places like some Goodwills. You've got the guy that owns it that's making $1 million a year, and the employees that are disabled are making 55 cents an hour. Yeah. Right. So, I want to work with experts.
Yeah.
Less non-political. Like all of my experts, none of them are going to be really heavily politically driven in the way that their motivation is to politicize any policy issue. Okay? I'm tired of these people being in the room. We can all have our beliefs, but we can decide that we're going to be adults and we're going to talk through things reasonably, and we're not going to gaslight the shit out of each other, and we're actually going to work on fixing this problem. Am I going to get 100% of what I want? Maybe not. You're going to get 100% of what you want? Maybe not. Are we going to take care of people and move things forward? Yes, ma'am. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
That's interesting, and I respect that response, because I actually asked Nick Pappas that same question. And yeah, it would be interesting to get y'all in the same room and hear y'all talk about that.
Now,
So
now I have a ton of ideas for actually stimulating the economy and helping people because, listen, it's all about production. We have to find ways to incentivize Americans to start doing stuff.
Yeah.
You do stuff, you do stuff, I do stuff, but a lot of people are just waiting for life to happen to
yeah,
them.
for sure.
They're confused, they're depressed, they're not inspired. I've been there. I also work with attorneys general, and I go meet with them every year in Washington, and we talk a lot of policy about online safety and things like that. And they have experts and groups that come in, and during Democratic administrations, they've been very open to listening to watchdogs telling about the dangers of certain things with technology now and stuff. But it's so obvious that the Republicans, it's just open for business. I mean, when he got inaugurated, a for sale sign went in the front
Yeah.
yard of the White House,
And everything's
and
on clearance.
oh,
Yeah.
it's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. But that's not how things need to be operated at all. I mean, we've got so much corruption to fight. That's our biggest thing now because yeah. Well, go ahead with your other stuff 'cause I know we're going to talk about some other things. Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to talk about veterans and mental health. You've proposed increasing federal mental health spending from 20 billion to 200 billion. Is that correct?
That's right. Hell yeah.
How would you ensure that money changes lives instead of vanishing into the bureaucracy that is the
Yeah.
VA?
It's a really good question. I want strong and efficient auditing and accounting. I know what it costs to do stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, I've built companies, I've built software, I built stuff. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building software that the government would have spent 20 million on, and it's just bullshit. And I mean, really, that boils back down to campaign finance. To be honest with you, every part of the government is so rife with corruption through lobbying and pork that we're fighting a battle around every single damn corner, and we've got to get all of the bot people out of Congress. We have to get them out. We have to. The country is being destroyed. So as long as we have those types of interests, which have exploded in this administration, we're not going to be able to effectively run the government the way that it needs to be run. Um, Certain things need to have profit, incentive, and motivation, and certain things don't. And that's a big problem that we have in America now too, is that any corporation with the gumption to try to influence the government in ways that are bad for people but are good for their pocketbook, no matter who it hurts, they can choose to invest their money that way. If you look at it just black and white and you look at what Elon did, spending $270 million on that election
Mhm.
to get 60, 70 billion in federal contracts, like if you just look at it from a strategic, you're playing chess kind of, who wouldn't do that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
If the
Absolutely.
government's for sale and you got the money because you happen to be the richest guy in the world, oh, maybe I'll just buy the government this year. I mean, come on, the government can't be for sale, guys. We can't sell everything.
Yeah.
And
But I think
it's
that also comes down to the Supreme Court really doing their job as well and kind of putting a stop to a lot of these things that are being rammed through without the guardrails that were there the first time. How do you think
Yes.
about packing the court?
So we have to address the court. We do have to address the court. But first, let's make sure that we realize that this is all the fault of Congress.
Yeah, term limits. How about term limits on some of these?
Lots of that. But I'm saying this whole situation, the courts are part of it, all of this, but Congress has the power to fix
Yeah.
all of this, and they refuse to.
it's
They refuse to.
it's like they're like staring at each other, the executive branch and then Congress. They're just looking at each other. Somebody's waiting for, I don't know. Someone's waiting
I
to
don't
like
think
put the
so.
cuffs on. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
think so.
I
I don't
think
think
they're
they have
very
any desire.
content with themselves.
No, they have
Yeah.
no desire to open it. They don't care. They're going to get there and
At
talk bad
all.
about Democrat. Listen, I was already thinking to myself, I'm jealous in a way because this is the longest break in the legislative
Yep.
session ever. And if it would have happened like during my Congress, which I swear to you, watch, my Congress will end up being the one with most worked days in all of history. okay, when I get there. And this one, they get to vacation halfway through the fall, but that's how the Republicans are treating it right now. Plus, honestly, I mean, I probably would have made a deal. I probably would have made a deal that would have hurt people and kept the government open and pushed the Epstein files so hard in Congress every day, everybody beating on it like a drum and hoping like hell that the American people give retribution upon the Republicans. That's the strategy I probably would have played. I've been terrified that this is eventually going to come back against the Democrats because they're trying so damn hard every day to make this come back against the Democrats. And let me tell you what, their game is way better than our game. They all say the same thing. They say it with passion. They lie through their teeth. They use all of their networks to get to their people, and we can't even agree what words mean.
Yeah. That's fair. That's definitely fair. I mean,
now, I've been trying to change it. I've been working hard. I don't know if you know, but and I'm starting to talk about this now publicly because this is just who I am. But I've been working like hell since June to build a coalition with all the Democratic leaders here because I've done some stuff on Facebook before that could help us win this election big time. And they've all just rejected me and told me to screw myself.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
I could definitely see how it gets lonely out there.
Who on earth would not want to coalesce around taking out this current administration? Who would not want?
The ones that identify themselves as very progressive.
TJ.
Yes, ma'am. It's been rough. It's been rough because I went into industry, like I said, and I was the rising tide lifts all boats guy. And people responded well to that. And when I came on the scene here politically, I'm just trying to help everybody. I'm not running against my primary opponents. I'm running with them against Beth Van Dyne. And so, a lot of people have just straight up told me, they don't want me around. They don't think I'm good for this. They're only going to vote for someone who's extremely socially progressive. And I said, so you're going to elect Beth Van Dyne again? And I've pushed back pretty hard against them. I said, listen, no matter what you think, my district is the wealthiest district in Texas, and it's very red, and it's very white. And a real extreme, like a social progressive, is not probably going to get elected, not over Beth Van Dyne because that person's not an alternative choice for Beth Van Dyne's voter.
Yeah.
And so it's just, it's just numbers. It's just data.
Yeah, you definitely have to play a delicate balance.
I've studied, I don't know the politics side. I've been doing policy side, but I've studied the previous campaigns, and it's mind-blowing how poorly everything is being run here. It's total BS.
Yeah.
Like last cycle, the guy raised, Sam raised, I don't know, $1.5 million or something, and they spent almost $1 million on mailers.
$1 million on mailers?
Yeah. Listen, I have generated. I'm going to tell you something right now. Yeah, no, it just gets worse and worse. The more you dig into all of this, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And everybody's all the local people are all about just lining their own pockets with $5,000 a month, and they're just siphoning all the money off these campaigns. And I'm telling these other candidates, why are 7 of us hiring the same person and paying for it 7 times over when this is something that could be taught to all of us at once? We can start pulling our resources. We need to be treating the same hashtags. I told them that I can help us take Facebook over completely, and all the real progressives have rejected me. And finally, it's like casting pearls before swine. Like, I'm just not going to waste all of my time trying to help everybody else anymore, and I'm just going to focus on my district and do what I can do. But I'll tell you, I have made hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue on Facebook, and I saw today, I think over my whole last 6 or 7 years, I think I've spent $9,000 on ads.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
okay, so I think I can resolve this issue right here and now. I think I can solve this problem for you, sir.
Okay.
The entire conversation that we have had, I have been asking you questions to try to pull something out of you that would make me think that you are the moderate that you claim you are.
Okay.
And I hate to tell you this, sir, but your policies are progressive.
I know. I realized that the other day.
So if these people want a progressive, just own that shit, TJ.
I was a conservative like 3 months ago. That's too far to move that fast.
Conservatives are progressive. All that means is that you want your country to be the best that it can possibly be and to evolve. What the hell is wrong with that?
No, I know. I know.
It's okay.
It is so confusing. I swear to God, I am so
home.
confused.
It's like trauma almost.
Well, it's just that every label is a bad word now to somebody.
Yes.
It's
Every
okay.
label is a bad word to somebody.
Yep.
Right?
Let's talk about the policies though, dude. And that's the thing is like when I'm going through your agenda, it's a progressive agenda. And the thing is all of the things on this agenda poll so high with the majority of the populace. Most people don't realize that they're progressives. Progressive is not a bad thing. You can be a conservative progressive. You can be a democratic progressive. You can. This is just wanting your country to grow. It's wanting.
I think you're exactly right. And I think that even my label of progressive, has been at times maybe misguided. But I've started to say economically and socially. That's what I say. So economically, I'm very progressive. Socially, I'm libertarian.
Perfect. At the end of the day, we just do not want another MAGA candidate in any seat. And let me tell you guys,
God, no.
There is blue MAGA too.
Oh, what do you mean?
The Democrats who get to Washington and vote completely with the other side and just completely forget where they
Fetterman?
come from.
Yeah, like that guy.
Like Fetterman? Yeah. Well, a lot of people came to me concerned about that. But if you dig into me or take any time to talk to me, like I have spent the last 20 years fighting and advocating for people, and I never really had any money until I was in my 30s. I grew up on the streets at 15 years old. I don't know what you know about my childhood and all of that stuff.
We don't. Tell us.
Yeah. Well,
if you're comfortable.
No, I'm an open book, and I mean it's out there on the internet, different places. I even put some stuff on my website. Yeah, I grew up in West Fort Worth. Are you familiar with White Settlement? Either one of y'all?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the sign.
I
never decided to stop in White Settlement.
You didn't exit.
Yeah, I didn't get off at White Settlement.
So grew up out there. My parents fell into like some mental health and drug addiction problems by the time I was in middle school, and so I ended up living on the streets at 15. Scraped together a few bucks, hitchhiked downtown, hopped a Greyhound to Austin, did a lot of different things. My mom got cancer, everything just kind of fell apart, and I was a street kid living the street life for a while. And fortunately, a couple of fortunate things happened because I had a few rough breaks, but fortunately, I was able to graduate high school early because I had gone to a private school in 5th grade. This is probably what started all the problems. Okay, my mom pulled me out of school in 5th grade. I mean, I hated school from the day that I went. I hated school from the day I went to kindergarten, but I was like, I was reading all of this stuff that I just couldn't connect with anybody that I went to school with ever. So my mom found out about a school for gifted and talented kids, and her mom had died, and she took a little bit of her life insurance money and sent me to a private school for gifted kids for 1 year. And it was so amazing. It was so neat. It gave me hope in the world and in institutions and in systems that I never had because I had just been a square peg in a round hole up until that moment. Yeah. And my dad, all he cared about was football. So he wanted to make sure I was going back to the public school the next year. And my mom was well-intended and sure I wanted to. So they decided I would skip a grade. So I skipped the 6th grade and I went into 7th grade in White Settlement, Texas, where It's a little bit of a rough population. I got kids that are 2, 3 years older than me, starting to bully me. My life fell apart at home. I was that, I was that seventh grader that wanted to unalive himself. I feel that kid, and it's got to be worse now with social media. At least I could leave school and it didn't follow me very far. So in eighth grade, one day I finally kind of mouthed off at the teacher, and I'd usually always been real respectful, but I mouthed off at the teacher, and these kids always bullied me for being smart and using big words or whatever. And all the kids laughed at me, not at me. They laughed with me, not at me. And like a light bulb went off in my head. So I was like, I'm going to be the biggest jackass ever. And so that's what I became. And, I remember lots of things, right? But I ended up on the streets at like 15. My mom calls the lady that ran that school, and she says, TJ's living on the streets. I got cancer. Is there any way you can help? And she said, if you'll get him to come out here, if he'll get here each day, I'll get him through high school. And so I finished 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in like a semester and graduated high school. I turned 16 in September, and then I graduated in December of 2000 on the condition that the school said that I could graduate on the condition that I enrolled in college. That was the condition after completing my stuff. So I went down to Tarrant County College and go to do the FAFSA and everything. Well, my parents had not done their tax returns in over 2 years. So I couldn't get a Pell Grant. I couldn't get FAFSA. I had nothing. So my sister signed for a bank account for me and a cell phone. And I started working full time in January, and I was 16. I've been working since I was 14, but I started working full time and going to school at night. And I was still running around with a bunch of hoodlums and stuff because that was where I came from. But I've never felt like that's where I belonged. I felt like I belonged somewhere else. And I met this girl, and her dad was a big attorney, and they had this huge house, and I'd never even been in a huge house, and it was really cool and exciting. And I got to talking to him and one of his friends one day, and she was office administrator for the U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Texas. And she said, we have a clerk position that we'd like for you to apply for. And I was like, well, that's awesome, but about a year and a half ago, I got busted with pot. When I was 15, I had gotten arrested. And they went to put me into like a diversionary program, and my dad was like, no, give him the conviction. He doesn't deserve to go through that. Yeah. Which I have kids now, and I'm like, how in the hell? Anyways, so, but for whatever reason in that scenario, she's like, go ahead and apply. And FBI background check. I got a security clearance, and I guess whatever that was didn't qualify for whatever was supposed to disqualify me. I don't know. Maybe it was God. I don't know. It just depends on how you believe in things. But I got a job at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I remember the ladies in the office. They threw me a little birthday party with cake for my birthday, and they're like, "TJ, you're turning 17." And I was like, yeah. And they like came back and they're like, you're the youngest Justice Department employee. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense, And then 3 days later, I'm sitting in there in the morning on my computer, and my office manager says, come in here. And we're sitting there watching World Trade Center's on fire. Watch the second plane hit. I'm on the 17th floor of a 40-story building in downtown Fort Worth. Got people on the phone with people in the Pentagon. It was crazy. It was crazy for a bit. It really was. It really was. And I got to work in the federal courts, and I worked with the FBI and the DEA and the DCIS and NCIS and USDA and Secret Service and U.S. Marshals. I got to help with a federal death penalty trial. Lots of really neat stuff. And people always stopped and talked to me, and people have always stopped and connected with me. And I've stayed in connection with a lot of those people, but it wasn't too long after 9/11 that I decided I was going to join the Marine Corps. And so they had to track my parents down and get them to sign because I was only 17. But I ended up shipping off, and I went in the summer of 2002 is when I went off, and I turned 18 in basic training.
Oh my God, TJ. I'm okay. I have two boys, and you're just making my stomach hurt. Like, I have a 21-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I want to hug 18-year-old TJ really, really hard.
I'm
17.
trying. I'm doing a lot of reparenting.
And
these
baby
days.
Tovar too. I want to hug you guys. Like, what were you thinking? Ah,
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Sorry to
Yes.
pass this.
So I like I told you, I was a learner. Like I came from a real conservative Christian background to which evangelicals. And after Iraq, it really sent me on a learning quest. And so I studied like theology and eschatology a lot in my 20s. And I learned so much. I mean, I learned, like, I perfectly understand the relationship between the evangelicals and Israel and all of these things that have happened and why and how misguided it is and how it's been used against the American people by the people that I was around, that by people like the people in my family. I read the Jerusalem Post since I was 9 because my aunt thought she was Jewish. Hell, that's how much she, I mean, like, she would call herself a, I can't remember what the phrase was, but it's like messianic Jew. I don't know.
What?
But I've learned about all this stuff, and oh my goodness, it's like it's very real, and there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. It's easy for people to start believing crazy things, and that's happened a lot of times in our history. And most Americans don't really understand a lot of those complexities, but really, I guess that is why you should try to rely on someone like who's a lawmaker, policymaker that has spent years or decades studying a lot of these very important issues, or have had life experiences that just happened to have to do with a lot of the really important pressing issues that are facing America right now.
What's your stance on the Israel-Palestine conflict?
So, I mean, I think it's been a genocide. It's a genocide. Um, I'm for a strong U.S. national defense, but we cannot allow our weapons and weapon systems to be used in evil ways. And it's just like it's not an isolated incident. It's not something that accidentally happened. It's just, how long are we just going to keep making excuses?
For sure.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
assuming.
I think as a man, like as a veteran, hearing you say that, like, man, thank you so much for just fucking calling it for what the fuck it
Thank
is,
you.
man. Because I'm
Thank
like,
you.
I've been so frustrated with the people that we fucking thought we served, and to see them, with that Marine Corps flag next to your American flag. I've been in the Capitol in Austin, and I see an American flag next to an Israeli flag
Yeah.
on these people's fucking lapels, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What happened? Like, how did we get here? Are we even living in fucking America anymore? So, yeah, thanks, man.
It's crazy. It's
I
totally
really
wild.
appreciate that.
And
What are your questions?
when it comes to how do we get here, this is what I want my evangelical friends to know. A guy named John Darby was riding his horse in the 1830s, and he fell off his horse, and he hit his head, and he laid in bed, and he came up with a whole new idea of how God and Israel and Christianity all works, and it became known as premillennial dispensationalism. And the leading theologians and scholars of the day rejected it. Charles Spurgeon, these people, they said, no, these ideas had never existed in the 1800 years prior where Christianity had existed. And you remember the first century church, I mean, they were essentially socialists or communists, really, right? I mean, they were by definition. But
Mm-hmm.
you go into the 1800s, well, that idea got printed in the Schofield Reference Bible that came out in the early 20th century. And that Bible, though reviled by evangelicals because it's the first Bible to mention Darwinian evolution and the day age theory for the creation of the earth. So evangelicals hate the Bible for that. But that Bible brought premillennial dispensationalism into Western Christianity. And when the horrible atrocity that was the Holocaust happened, there was both a need and an opportunity for Zionism to flourish. And it flourished through the evangelical Christian churches. The churches that, had they at that point gone over to the Holy Land and encountered Jewish people who were returning there, historically, Jews haven't really liked Christians. I mean, they did kill Jesus. Just telling you, you know. So, like,
And he was one of them.
evangelicals are so bass backwards and confused about what the Bible says. Um, but it's at this point, you know, it's all marketing. I mean, Netanyahu to me is like the Israeli Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
and
literally committing war crimes and a genocide in order to avoid prosecution. He is
right.
Yeah.
So, our national political landscape, unfortunately, is filled with a lot of weak people. Weak people. Incredibly weak people. These people have a duty, they have a responsibility. And so many people are getting passionate about it now. When all of these things happen, I guess it made us realize that no, the right people aren't in Washington. The right people are not there. We always asked all these questions. We asked ourselves, how did the German people allow this to happen? Do you remember? We would ask, how did Jim Jones, how did Jonestown, how did that happen? How could anybody allow that to happen? And now we know. Now we've seen it. We've lived it. We've experienced it. We've lost our family members, our loved ones, our friends, and our neighbors to this cult mentality. And it's mass cult delusion is what it is. I've been listening to psychologists and stuff, try to find a way to reach these people whose cognitive dissonance has gone to such extreme levels that it's almost impossible to even exist with them at times. But the wrong people are in Washington, and I'm convinced some of the right people are out here. And I look at this when I started running in this race, I looked at it just like when I signed that contract in the Marine Corps. And I do believe in, you know, I pray for my safety and for the safety of the people around me. But I do believe that going to Washington and representing your country should mean that you are willing to give everything up to your life if that's what it takes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. I also think that during these government shutdowns, the only people who should not be being paid, the only people
It's Congress.
Is the people not fucking working? That only
That's
makes
it.
sense.
How's Congress? Like, Congress isn't even. I mean, this is crazy. What's going on is crazy. So really, guys, if you want to call things what they are, this has been a coup. We have experienced a coup. We've experienced a coup, and I think you had made a note to me something about how we're actually going to take fascism out of the government. Well, I've been fighting corruption for 5 years. You know, I've testified in Louisiana Congress. I've been to the Supreme Court twice doing this. I've broken whistleblower stories in Florida about insurance company corruption. And I've met with at least 17 attorneys general around the country working on prosecuting corrupt insurance companies. So it's kind of weird for me because, like, I'm actually very pro civil justice reform, law enforcement reform. I'm the most not the narc guy you've ever met. But the corruption is so extreme and it's hurting so many people now that we just have to do really tough things. And what that means is that we just have to use the laws that are already in existence that have been broken by the tens of thousands. And realistically, probably 90% of the people involved are going to get immunity. So that the 10% at the top can actually go somewhere where they can feel what it's like to be behind bars for a while. And if that doesn't happen, we're probably not going to be able to take the country back ever effectively if people aren't held accountable for the coup that has already taken place.
I could not agree with that more. Oh my gosh. It's there. If you don't hold somebody accountable at some point, there's no consequences. Why the hell not?
Why
Why
wouldn't
do
somebody
that?
do it? It's just like the Elon thing, buying the election. Like, so if you can buy the election and you don't get in trouble, why not try it if you have the
Why
money?
not?
And then if you can use the government with immunity just to become your private, Gestapo, and you can just enrich yourself with your, I mean, like, why not? Why wouldn't everybody try to do
Yeah.
this if they're evil? If they don't care about anybody, if they just care about themselves, they're a megalomaniac. Maybe especially if they're already a billionaire, because billionaires, to be a billionaire, something has to be just off in a little different way.
Broken. You have no soul. There's no reason for one human being to acquire more wealth than they can spend in one lifetime, where there are literally people starving on the street. There's no reason.
So listen, you can't make a blanket.
Trillionaire is. Oh my
You
god.
can't listen. You can't make a blanket statement though. Okay, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah. I build a piece of software. It's fucking cool. Everybody loves it. They all get on it. They invite their friends. It goes on Wall Street. All of a sudden, I'm a billionaire. Like, so am I evil just because I built the software? And no. Now, what I choose to do now is going to determine whether I'm evil or not. Right. So I've changed the way I've looked at a couple of things. I used to say we need more business people in government. Now I say we need more business-minded people in government for the right reasons. That's what I say about that. Okay, because your checkbook always has to get balanced no matter what. It's like death and taxes. It just happens. It just is what it is, right? And I swear to God, I forgot the other thing because I've been up for like 15 hours already.
Yeah, it's just funny how people think that the government should be ran like a business, but businesses don't have fucking money printing machines. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the same. Like, it's not the same.
Well, I just mean in the sense of, okay, so in a business, well, okay, I'll tell you this. I was in the Marine Corps. I was in aviation supply, right? We would just toss like a $600,000 gyro for a Cobra across the room because we didn't give a shit, right? It's the government. But then I went and worked for a little while at Spirit Airlines, and there was this like barbed wire cage with padlocks, and I'm like, "What is that?" And they're like, "Well, that's where all of the expensive stuff goes, so people don't steal it or break it." Well, that's your difference between a business-minded person being in government, because the fact that the government can print unlimited amounts of money isn't actually a good thing.
Nope.
Yeah. But it's got to be something smart. Like, I'm a capitalist, okay? But what we have and what we see and what we've experienced now is something that I would call corruption, corporatism, late stage capitalism. There's a lot of different things that we can call it, but it's not pure capitalism, which started out as trade and commerce. Like, you make something that I want, I make something that
Right.
you want. Production is good, okay? But with, let's say, okay, this is progressive. But if you look back before supply side economics, before trickle down, before Reagan, all right, economically, you look at how business was in America, and you look at the highest marginal tax rate. Do you know what in the 1940s? You know what the highest tax rate was? Income tax rate. What the highest bracket? What you paid?
I think the highest. Are you talking about like historically the highest of all time? I want to say it was like 90%.
In the 40s, it was over 90%. They eventually lowered it in the 50s or 60s to 70%, where it remained until Reagan. And it was like 95 or 96%, something crazy right during the middle of the 40s during the war. So what happens then? What happens if we set a policy like that? Oh, all the business owners are going to leave, right? That's what they say. No, let's think about it. What happened back then? What happened was that people built companies.
Yep.
And they work hard on the company and they employ people. And when the company's really profitable and it's doing well, and I made $100 million this year, do I just pay 95 of it to the government and keep the 5 million? Or do I just pay the 95 million into my company and create pensions and pay for health care and do all of these things, because they didn't have the option to keep it. Remember, the income tax rate was 95%. So they didn't have the option to take it home. They could either pay it to Uncle Sam or they could pay it to their people. Right?
Jesus.
And that's why we had pensions and stuff back in the day. Now, billionaires are playing with rockets like they are toys. While for Amazon, 1/3 of their labor force is living on Medicaid and government subsidies. Why are we subsidizing billionaires and trillion-dollar Wall Street corporations? Why is the taxpayer subsidizing their employees?
It's corporate welfare.
You guys, that's socialism.
Yeah, that's socialism.
It's corporate
That is
socialism.
Well, listen,
socialism.
MAGA's gone pretty socialist in a lot of ways. Like,
Oh yeah.
so it just comes back down to good people. Because I go to Capitol Hill and I go and I meet with lawmakers and I meet with a Democrat and I'm like, these people, like, their house was destroyed in the flood. FEMA was supposed to give them this money. They're like, oh my God, what do we do? Let's work to get this money. And the Republicans won't even meet with us. And so this strange thing came to my realization over the last couple of years, where essentially, to be a Republican at this point, you have to be evil, I guess. Maybe. You know,
I think it depends on the Republican. I've met a few Republicans lately that I am 100% down for and would vote for.
okay. Name one.
Progressive.
Name one in U.S. Congress or the U.S. Senate.
Oh, none of them.
Okay.
None of them in the Congress or the Senate. That was
So,
no.
state-
People
state-
running for local office.
State and local, it really is different. State and local really is different. Like, these people are way more connected.
Yes.
Yeah, they're human. They're connected to their communities. But on Capitol Hill, I mean, to be a Republican with MAGA now, I mean, I don't see how you can do it and not be evil on some level, even if you don't realize you're evil. Like, the rest of us can.
Yeah.
Right? Now, only some of the Democrats are evil that are on Capitol Hill now. That's what
Okay,
I've.
did anybody else secretly have a little internal party today when we found out that Miss Pelosi won't be running again?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
For about 1,000 different reasons.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how old is she now? Is she 85? How old is she?
534 years old.
I thought so.
She's embalmed. What are you talking about? Oh, God,
Yes.
bless her heart. She should have retired. And listen, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I adore, who I love. I literally have a picture of her on my altar. I adore her. Should have retired 10 years before she did.
Damn right. She hurt us so bad. She hurt us so bad.
Hurt
God,
us.
she did. I know.
After all of the incredible things that and what happened was the big, beautiful thing that she did, her legacy,
Got wiped out.
Women had the right to
Got
choose.
wiped out.
She was selfish. We lost it.
You're right.
It's term limits got to go. The minute somebody gets to Washington or to Austin and on the local level, guys, the minute they get there, and we have all of these interviews. TJ, thank you so much for being here to answer these questions. I'm not shutting us down or anything. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, no, I'm glad you.
It is so important to hold people accountable and to make sure that people aren't getting stagnant and comfortable and complacent in those seats. And when you are, you got to go.
You gotta make them uncomfortable. And
yes,
tension is good. I don't know who I was telling this to, but tension is good in politics.
yes.
Oh yeah,
audacity. You have to run with audacity.
Here's the interesting thing. In today's social media world, we have the ability to get to know all of the candidates.
Yeah.
If they're willing to show themselves to us. And so some of them, like my opponent, Beth Van Dyne, she does a lot of media now. Her style of media isn't the same as mine because I like to be like raw. And if you go back and look through my stuff, like, you will find me crying, you will find whatever, because I'm just a real person that's like that. She's like playing a part. But she's playing Cruella de Vil. I mean, she's playing an evil part. Her rhetoric is so disgusting and evil that it would be really easy for someone just to look up her videos, see what she's passionate about, see what she's talking about, see who she's trying to help and who she's trying to hurt, and then maybe look up my videos for the past 5 or 10 years as I've documented all of the things that I'm doing, that I'm passionate about, that I care about, that I like doing. Like, I can't go back and fake 10 years of living my life trying to help people because I just decided to run for Congress now. And I was in Kerrville helping with the floods, and somebody said, "Oh, you're out helping people now that you're running for Congress." And I was like, "Bro, I have done this in 7 hurricanes. Like, what do you mean?"
Yeah, I fucking hate when people do that shit. That's why I like just stay away from even mentioning it or posting about it, because it's always somebody it's like, oh, you're just doing this for whatever reason, like.
Well, so I used to think that too, because I was raised to say that when it comes to tithing or helping people, the right hand should never know what the left is doing. Now, I don't know that I wouldn't want my right hand and my left hand to know what each other's doing, but I will say that if you do tastefully, with the right heart, if you do things and share it with others, it can inspire others to do good as well. And so there are two sides that I totally respect, both views. And I have been criticized before for publicizing certain things that I was trying to spread awareness, and I don't regret it. We're always going to have haters. This is the internet. But between y'all and me, there's lots and lots of things that nobody ever knows that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Of course.
And not everything needs to be publicized, but I do think it's good. Like, can you imagine? Oh my God, it makes me so sick. Donald Trump has the biggest podium in the world.
You could have just
He has the biggest heart. He has probably the biggest heart than you.
He's probably got the biggest brain too, if you ask him. And we know he doesn't have the biggest everything. There's been witnesses. But
teeny tiny.
Do you realize how much good he could do?
Oh
do you
my
realize
God.
how much good you could do from that spot? Oh my God. Right?
Save the world.
And I've done a lot of stuff. I've volunteered for Habitat for Humanity because I was inspired by Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
I saw him be at 90 years old out there helping and doing that. And I thought to myself, like, that's leadership. That is what we need. We need someone who's going to lead from the front, that's going to fight, when it's time to fight, but that is going to focus on policies that are just helping people. So I've spent the last 20 years of my life helping people. I look at Congress as a way for me to help people and not have to worry about actually making money to pay everybody. Because I've been running businesses and using a lot of my own business money to do nonprofit work, but I always have to work and bring in more money and bring in more money and bring in more money. Now, granted, in the House, you're going to be campaigning every other year. But aside from that, I get a whole staff. And so I can afford 10 staffers that are going to be focused on constituent services. And I'm going to have 6 of them with ChatGPT in the same email inbox. And I'm going to go. Okay, yeah, look that up, find out, see if we can help her. Go. Okay, find that out. All day long, at least not all day long. We're going to have like a set number of hours, probably 1 or 2 days a week, that we blast through constituent services to make sure that we are listening to what people are saying, that we are helping people, that we are being that representative for the people. And those people do exist in Washington still. I don't know how many of them are on the political right anymore. Unless maybe if you look and sound like them and give them money, maybe they'll help you. But that's not really what I mean.
So let me ask you this. If I am your constituent and I'm pissed off at TJ Ware, and I leave you a shitty email, I call you and I leave you a shitty message, who's calling me back? And how are we addressing that situation? Whatever the case may be.
That's a really good question because, I mean, let's look at this realistically. Let's say, what if people, like a lot of people, found a reason not to like me? Like, what if
TJ?
What if I get lots of hate mail? Like, because if you're angry at me, like most people that anger me are like real MAGA. They may drop like some bad words in there that I don't even use in my vocabulary. So you'd probably get lumped in with them. If there's less than like, 50 or 100 of those a week, I guess maybe I can respond to them. It depends on the content. It depends on what you say or the pictures you draw or whatever. But I'm okay with tension. I'm okay with people who disagree with me, and I'm okay saying that I make mistakes because I'm not perfect. I am someone who makes mistakes, but I work hard to be accountable and to learn from them, and that's important. To be honest with you, I told you about one of my business failures earlier. Anybody that's done anything in business, when you get to know them, there's probably a whole number of failure stories that most people never know about. People look at me now and everybody makes assumptions about everything. They think I'm some trust fund kid. They got all these crazy things that people just look at me and assume. I have nice hair, so you think I was a trust fund kid? Like what do you mean? Not knowing how many failures, how many times I've been overdrawn in my bank, how many trips to Goodwill to get clothes on the kids. They don't know the life that I've lived. And that's unfortunate because that's a really big problem in America. Do you like books?
Very much so.
Have you ever read The Four Agreements?
Both
of you, write it down. The Four Agreements, write it down. Write it down right now. That book has changed my life. Read it several times. It's an easy read. Love it, love it, love it. It's 4 simple agreements, okay? And we have a lot of agreements in society. Our whole language is an agreement that we agree that this means that. And we're learning how difficult that can be. The 4 agreements say, if you'll just embrace these 4 agreements every day, your life will be easier and conflict will go away, in your life. Number 1 is your word. Your word should be strong. Keep your word, but use your word for good. Don't use your word for bad, for tearing people down. Your word. Number 2, don't make assumptions. Just period. Don't make assumptions ever. Number 3, don't take things personally. Number 4, do your best every day. Now, number 2 and number 3, if you will write this on a Post-it note and put it up around you, you're going to learn all day, every day. All you do is make assumptions and take things personally.
Okay, I feel attacked.
Well, everything is against me for sure,
I'm
dude.
attacking myself.
I'm just gonna assume you're fucking talking about me,
right bro. I'm telling you, and I'm like, oh my god! All I do is make assumptions and take everything personally. What is going on?
I was literally, you got through that list, and I was like, well, 2 and 3 are out the window.
Bro, 2 or 3 are what it's about, okay? And you need to remember every single day because assumptions, oh my goodness, assumptions have taken us to all of the worst places in society.
Yeah, I find myself in a lot of conversations saying, I didn't say that, or where did you get that from? I never said that. What are you talking about?
Somebody could have a girlfriend that makes a lot of assumptions. I don't know, but if they did, they would understand.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, TJ, we have a tradition in which we have asked our previous interview a question to ask you.
Oh.
Then you will give us a question for our next interview, and it can be about anything.
Oh my God.
So your question is actually a good one. If you could change one thing in Texas to make it better for everyone, what would it be, and how would you implement it?
If I could change one thing in Texas, it's like a magical thing. It's like this is like because I'm running for U.S. Congress. Did you know that?
For Texas, buddy, come on. What you gotta do for Texas?
Well, okay. If it can be any question, I can come up with any answer. I'd probably install like an air conditioner that goes from the Oklahoma border to the Texas coast.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that not what you meant? That is what, you're on board.
Great.
Yes.
Listen, I'm premenopausal. I will take universal air conditioning all day, every day. Baby.
The summers are getting rougher every year. Okay. But realistically, God, I want to fix immigration.
Yeah.
I'm just sick. I'm just sick. I'm just physically ill over what's going on.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't fix that, then I would just cross the board legalize pot. That way we can all just stop worrying and just let's just get past this issue. That way at least we can cope with all the other problems that we have.
I feel like
Okay.
that would be just
I
like
don't
the
even know what to.
kickoff to like utopia.
No,
Well,
no.
there's there's 1,000 reasons to deschedule cannabis and almost none to keep it there. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
crazy
Hmm.
because you talk about cartels, cartel violence. How much money are we sending to the cartels because it's outlawed at the federal level unless it's hemp or what? Like it's so stupid. And I've spent years. I've been affected by drugs a lot in my life. I've spent years studying drug policy
Yeah.
and understanding how the damn war on drugs made drugs so much worse in America than it ever would have been otherwise. And we've got to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. TJ Ware, thank you so much. I look forward to having you back again. That was a very
Yeah.
interesting conversation.
Yeah, let's do
Well,
it
thanks
because,
for having you.
Yeah,
yeah,
where can everybody find you?
please visit my website, electtj.com. You can also find me on TikTok. I like TikTok. It's TJ Ware for Congress on TikTok. I was large loss expert forever. That was my handle for years. And that you guys probably don't know, but let me see. I'm gonna show you. Can I show you around just a little bit?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Sure.
I built this
Cribs.
studio,
It's our first
and
cribs.
it means something to me
Sweet.
because a lot of this stuff is I got to figure out how to turn my camera on. A lot of this stuff has different meaning. Okay, but look at that. I did used to have a cool sports car, and it had that license plate. See, it says large loss,
Uh-huh.
Nice.
and it's because I handled big insurance claims. Was the deal? Yeah. Uh, that picture right there. See this? Jimi
Uh-huh.
Hendrix. This is painted on an antique wood window frame by a lady in Beaumont, Texas, hurricane survivor, and
Mm.
she sells these here. And some Marine Corps stuff. This stuff up here. So I've been super involved in West Africa for 10 or 15 years in the nation of Liberia, and
Oh,
so I've got really close Liberian friends and stuff. And this Texas flag right here came out of a pile that we pulled bodies out of in the river in Kerrville.
Oof.
And I had to put it in an ozone machine. That one too. Both of these.
oh.
That's where they came from. Just to get the smell out of it. But yeah, and another veteran pulled those out of his pocket and he handed it to me. Uh, and it meant a lot. It really meant a lot. Means a lot to me. So this is, of course, some Marine Corps stuff. That's
Money?
Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, that's in New Orleans. That's Floyd. See, I was the hurricane hero and the public adjuster of the year. That's what I've been.
Nice, that's cool, man.
Squad leader TJ, and this other
Oh,
stuff.
nice. Thank you.
I like art, and then Hurricane Collectibles. That's Doug down there. He's the one. He's testified in front of the Senate twice, fighting insurance companies.
Mm.
And then, oh here, you'll like this one, right? This
Workers over
Yes.
billionaires.
right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that one there. Workers over billionaires. More stuff, and then we've got some. This right here first. This one is Hurricane Laura. Man, it devastated the city of Lake Charles. And then that's my guys at SNAP, the North Texas Special Needs Assistance Partners.
Oh, hi guys.
Yeah, they're awesome. We teach them like life and job skills. But that's Kennedy when he came to Dallas. And then that's Oswald right before he got shot by Jack Ruby. And then that chair right there where I'm taking my notes,
Uh-huh.
this chair here, my grandfather left me when he died.
Oh.
And it was in Jack Ruby's club in Dallas called the Carousel Club.
Wow. That's cool
Oh,
shit.
okay. That just got real dope real fast.
Yeah, that's cool
Kinda
shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to follow a little bit of that. I mean, that's part of Dallas culture. I love culture and the arts. I think it's so important that we share knowledge and invest in our communities in a better way.
I
So I
dig
love
it. I
that.
dig it. Well,
So
Mr.
Thanks y'all
much.
TJ
so
Ware,
much.
Once again, thank you for joining us tonight. We look forward to having you back. Feel free to give us a holler whenever you want to jump
Okay.
back in, man, and we'll fire everything up for you. And good luck
Yeah.
on
That
the
sounds
trail,
great.
and good luck with
And
everything.
Jennifer, I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like you gave me softballs.
Really? I can be mean.
Totally.
We're
You
gonna have to come
kidding?
back, and I'll be really mean if you want me to. I can get
Don't get too
ugly.
mean. Don't get too mean. I'll call you a Republican. Okay. Y'all have a good night.
All right,
You
TJ, we'll see you.